first. So would you like to go first? All right, ladies and gentlemen, your first candidate for the mayor of the North Shore of Staten Island.
Many people have gathered at Cargo Cafe for the second debate between Tim Duffy and Steve Goffin in the race for North Shore mayor of Staten Island. Over the past month, both parties have decided to take the gloves off in this dramatic clash for the office of North Shore mayor. Tim Duffy leads the race after a strong showing in the first debate, and during the aftermath of Mr. Goffin's accusations of punching babies during his former employment, Mr. Duffy was able to pull away from Mr. Goffin in the projected polls of YouTube views with a whopping 492 views, as opposed to Mr. Goffin's 327 views for his best effort. The candidates, in a final effort to allow the voting public to have a more informed vote, have decided to put some background to who they are.
Hello, my name is Tim Duffy. I'm running for North Shore Mayor.
I'm Steve Goffin. I'm running for Mayor of the North Shore.
I think that there's nobody to better represent Staten Island than this hairy Irish bastard.
Although I was led to believe that I was already the Mayor of the North Shore, now I have to, I'm up for re-election. Steve Goffin.
We picked up some steam. I think the last debate did well for us. I heard a lot of Steve Goffin supporters turning over, but you can't really tell by polls. I mean, it's down to the last minute, and I'm not resting on my laurels here.
After the first debate, Steve, I was sandbagged. I was sandbagged at the first debate. I'm a little peeved about it, but I'm trying to get through that. I think tonight I'm a little more poised. I have a little more composure.
I'm not a fan of mudslinging. I made a big point of that in the last debate. I tried to make a big point of that in my first documentation that I put up on the internet. The sad thing is that that's the nature of the discourse due to my opponent's campaign manager and their tactics. And as a result, I've gone out of my way to hire the 527 that was doing earlier attack ads on my behalf. As my campaign manager, because I realized that there was no other way to survive in this kind of gruesome race.
There won't be as much mudslinging in this live debate as there is on the internet, which, by the way, I don't know much about.
I sometimes wake up in the morning, and I think George Washington must have felt a little like this.
I believe that I'm a completely upfront candidate. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you stories, good stories that you would love to hear, honest stories.
No one seems to know how this race will turn out. It's a week away from election night, and the candidates have agreed to face off one more time before the people cast their votes. In this debate, North Shore residents came out in droves, armed with a variety of questions to get to know their candidates better.
I wanted to know I want to know what you guys are doing to stop these South Shore Guidos from bringing their SUVs to our side of the island and running amok on our streets.
What role, if any, will the Wu-Tang Clan be playing in your cabinets here on Staten Island?
I'd like to know, what is your favorite Ralph's ice?
My question is this. Do any of you guys want to party?
Hi. I was just wondering what your stand was on New Jersey.
In 1952, Bobby Thompson hit the shot heard around the world and became the greatest Staten Islander of all time. Would you support changing the name Staten Island to Bobby Thompson?
In the first few rounds, both candidates seemed neck and neck as Mr. Goffin seemed to bring new life to his campaign, standing strong on the fact that he is the people's candidate, ready to make the tough decisions. That is, until Tim Duffy's former place of business was brought into
interracial and what's the thing called Linda baby? What's the
Interracial dirty!
What's the thing you told me? Not interracial. I take that back. I support interracialism.
Mr. Goffin's reputation for being a loose cannon has hindered as well as helped his platform as a man who gets things done. It was apparent that Mr. Duffy would have this debate, but being affected by the previous accusations of having controversial pornography at his former employment, Mr. Duffy's closing statements were compromised.
I'm not really worried about having them there. And beyond the fact that, but anyway, I love Staten Island. I think my 12 years of service at the Village Shop are something I'm proud of. And I think I'm proud of my participation in each and every event that I go to on Staten Island. And I am happy to say that I hope that you'll vote for me for your Staten Island mayor.
And despite of Mr. Goffin's falter in this debate, he made a strong finish.
I would like to think that I've helped each and every one of you out individually on many occasions, and I will continue to do so. I will continue to do so for future occasions. I'm Steve Goffin, Mayor of the North Shore, forever.
It's anyone's race. Of course, Mr. Goffin's and Mr. Duffy's campaign managers see otherwise.
Said that interracialness was disgusting.
Okay, first of all, he did not say interracialness was disgusting.
He said it was dirty.
He said
it
no,
was dirty.
no. He said that dirty interracial porn.
Nothing. No disrespect to Steve Goffin. I think that Tim Duffy has come through 2 times at this point, and it's pretty definitive. While I'm not going to talk slander about Steve Goffin.
I will say I thought Tim Duffy performed well in this debate. I think this was clearly not a win on his part. I think clearly the crowd was in support of Steve Goffin on this term. I liked what Tim did a lot in the first debate. I think if you were going to be a neutral party, maybe you could give a tight win to him that. But tonight, I don't think he came with his A game. I don't think he was just prepared. I don't think the pink shirt went over as well as he had hoped it would. And I thought that the crowd was definitely more support in Steve tonight than they were in Tim.
I like to say
Decide for yourself and cast your vote at Martini Red this Friday, December 14th.